Welcome to Grand Sumo Breakdown,
the unofficial sumo podcast
for official sumo fans.
Welcome to Grand Sumo Breakdown. This is Ryan.
This is Jake.
This is Fleric.
And this is Mac.
And this is our recap for the Natsu Basho. Quick order of business up top. Even more important than pipping our Patreon. We had
what
a
could
winner.
Possibly be more important.
We had a winner of our prediction series, and we had a loser of the prediction series. Jake, why don't you introduce the winner of the prediction series?
I honestly was too angry to check who actually finished on top.
And what a finish
Yokozuna,
it
whoever,
was.
I don't care.
You might as well just call all of us Yokozuna then, just
Yes.
to cover it.
Fine, I'll go look it up. Because obviously you're just going to string this along.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, it's
All right.
us.
It's Yokozuna Fleric. Well done, sir. I'm your bashful Sukebito, and you are my senpai.
You're damn right.
And the punishment this time was that we are going to roll a dice.
It's
the
a-
realism.
It's a die when it's singular, Ryan.
We are going to roll a die, and whatever number comes up, Jake will have to say the phrase that the other three of us kind of worked on for him.
Ooh, if you mispluralize die and dice in one of these statements, that would be super effective.
Quick, we got to add one. The venerable Yokozuna Fleric, are you okay if I kind of take the lead on this punishment, or
Rolling
do you want
Go
to?
right.
die.
Go right ahead,
All right.
fellow Mikashira. Fellow Mikashira Ryan.
All right. So Jake, we're going to start things off right now. So go to your document and read what it says.
I request, nay, I demand that you call me Little Jakey Boy for the rest of this episode.
Can do, little Jakey boy.
Oh my God, he got the worst one.
That's
That's
a weird request, Jake.
Oh,
but
as
since
you
you're my
wish.
loyal Sukebito, I will allow it. Little
As
Jakey
you
boy.
wish.
The fact that came up at the absolute outset of the podcast means Ryan has absolutely rigged this game.
Weird how random it is.
There is it's a random die.
Yeah. Like what do you want to do about it? Like
I hate you. Hit me with another one to get that one out of the taste of that one out of my mouth.
I can do that.
Jake's
Another one
begging
for
more punishment.
Yokozuna Fleric. Okay, this one's probably less bad than you think it is. Fist of the North Star, my favorite anime. Or I suppose I should say it all in one go without my own editorial.
Yeah, no commentary.
No
please.
comments.
So despite it being the best anime ever, Fist of the North Star pales in comparison to the masterpiece that is Sailor Moon. I love you, Sailor Scouts. I don't know. I don't have a particular hatred for Sailor Moon. Do
Yeah.
I give
I was
off that
gonna say,
vibe or something?
The intro of the Sailor Moon's pretty dope.
Yeah.
Slaps.
All right. Well, so we will be hitting that as we go through the podcast. Whenever somebody wants him to say something, just let me know, and I'll put the right phrase in there. But before we go too much further, we just want to once again thank everybody who has joined our Patreon. We are now up to, I think it's 33. Yeah.
Yes.
At least tripling our greatest hopes for what we are going to have. Once again, you can sign up to be friend of the show for just $1. You get your name put in the bowl of compliments, or you can sign up for the $3 level to be a BFF of the show. You also get the bowl of compliments, but you can also assign us a segment that we have to do on the podcast. It's not like, hey, it would be cool if you guys did this. No, if you sign up for the $3 level and you tell us to do that segment, we have to do it.
We are oath bound.
Yes.
Yes. And
With
we do.
exceptions. Don't make us say like really
Well,
bad
don't
things.
introduce it like that and then say, well, maybe we won't know.
We can't retract. We
just
can't
saying, like-
backpedal.
Somebody can't write in and be like, why don't you guys talk about the pros of the Holocaust? Like, no, we're not going to do that. So
No.
Ryan, we are oath bound. I don't know if you understand this.
Yes, we do check our Gmail accounts. We do check all of our voicemails. We are listening. So yes, he will be ready.
And by the way, $3 is by no means a limit to your generosity. And
If you
I
want
didn't even
more,
know this,
please.
but a couple people have signed up for more than that, like on purpose, which kind of baffles me. But hey, appreciate it.
Yeah, very true, little Jakey boy. So the money that is coming to us is not going into our personal pockets. It's all going to be going back into the show, so that if you're donating to us, you are donating to the show, and we're going to put everything back into better equipment, stuff even that we can give back to the fans. It's all going into the show, not into our pockets.
Correct.
All right, so why don't we go ahead and start reading some of the compliments?
Yeah, we got
All
too
right.
many, so we kind of had to space them out into a few batches here.
That's a good problem to have, though, Jake. Come on.
Yeah, but like Ryan said, we kind of tripled up at least on what we were expecting to do. So,
And Mac, I will ask you to obey Jake's request, nay, his demand, that you call him Little Jakey Boy.
Please, excuse me. Little Jakey Boy has a point.
Yeah. That's my Suke veto. You give him respect, damn it.
Indeed, Yokozuna Flair.
Thank you, senpai.
Well, our first compliment goes to none other than the illustrious John Gunning.
Gon
You-
Junning.
Gon Junning, yes, as I trip over my words. You are like a Mawashi, bright and colorful, and supportive in all the right ways.
He totally got us. He gave us money so that, now he's downgraded from Nemesis to, I guess he's all right.
No, it just elevates him even further. It's a shot fired. He knows that we are eternal rivals, and now he has forced us to compliment him. But we're getting his money, so I'm not sure who comes ahead on that.
This is the narrative.
All right, Mac, hit us with another one.
All right, we have make sure I'm saying this correct. Summer Hodson. You are.
Is that's a difficult one?
Well, I just wanted to make sure. I was going to say Hudson. I'm like, wait a minute, Hodson or Hudson? Not sure which.
Yeah, we don't
You
want
are
to
the
confuse
kind-
her with Summer Hudson, who comes later in the podcast.
Oh, shut up, Jakey boy. You are the kind of person that owns whatever room you walk into.
All right. We have Paul Simpson. If I was half as smart as you, I'd be twice as smart as the other 3 GSB members.
Joe Hobbs, you are the salt that purifies the ring with your presence.
And Emo Dingo, I like your
Ooh.
style.
Ooh, indeed.
And
That was
screen
good.
name.
Let's before we get to the main episode, let's hear another quote for our little Jakey boy.
Ooh. We can do that with number. Not that one. That one.
Kageyaki's duck waddle makes me wet.
Oh, Jake, little Jakey boy, I did not know that about you.
That's a good one.
Okay. Natsu, you show. This isn't a podcast of just us being mean to Jake. We also talk about sumo sometimes. All right. Turned into a very exciting Basho with a Yusha winner of Ozeki Teruno Fuji, a 12-3 record. This is his 4th career Yusho, his 2nd in a row, and his 3rd in a year. That's some Yokozuna-like stats right there. But it wasn't without some difficulty, because he did lose on day 15 to the person that he beat in the playoffs, June Yusha winner, Ozeki Takakeisho, who also had a 12-3 record, and that's his 5th career June Yusho. I mean, how long has it been since we've had 2 Ozeki or above that are the Yusho and June Yusho winners?
Too long. Too long.
No kidding. And then we move into special prizes, my absolute favorite part of this Basho.
Okay, you need to qualify this.
And I will. Wakataka Kage winning the Gino Show Technique Prize, his 2nd career Gino Show Technique Prize, and his 2nd career special prize overall.
And I'm going to jump right in here because this one's stupid.
Got a 9-6 record from Maegashira 1. He beat 2 Ozeki. He beat 2 Sekiwake. He beat a Komosubi. What is there to
this is
dispute?
only the I know that the technique prize is not like dependent entirely on the number of wins, but this is only the 2nd time in the last 3 years that a guy with fewer than 10 wins has gotten this prize. And specifically, this one prize is the reason that Ryan is not saying stupid shit about anime on this particular podcast.
You are absolutely right. I beat Jake by 1 point. You
1
get
point.
3 points if your champ gets a special prize. So God bless you, committee that decides special prizes.
You
But
inconsistent bastards.
there was another Gino Show Technique Prize winner, and that was Endo, who won his 4th career Technique Prize and his 6th career Special Prize overall. There were no Shuken Show Outstanding Performance Prizes awarded. Endo did have one on the line if he beat Shodai on day 15, and if he happened to win in a 3-way playoff against Terano Fuji and Takakeisho, then and only then could he walk away with the Outstanding Performance Prize. It wouldn't have been good enough that he beat 3 Ozeki had he beat Shodai on day 15, and had beaten the Yusho winner in Terano Fuji or Takakeisho, and had a 12-3 record. No, he had to beat Takakeisho and Terano Fuji again to win the Shuken Show Outstanding Performance Prize.
It makes no sense.
I've seen Sho Hozan win that with an 8-7 record.
Yeah, so in order for him to get that prize, he would have had to go 5-0 against the Ozeki.
It makes no sense.
But you know what? It's sumo, baby. That's what it do.
That's fair. That's fair.
Kanto Show, Fighting Spirit Prize, none were awarded in that category. So a little sparse on the special prizes this time. And even as sparse as it was, Kagayaki couldn't do anything to nab one of those. But we're not.
Except
we're
that
not,
duck waddle. Jakey boy,
yeah,
love that
little
duck
Jakey
waddle.
boy, don't think too much about it. We got a podcast to record here. But we're not going to dwell on Kagayaki too much. We've got far too much to talk about. But despite
everyone else,
despite the fact
We
that
don't
we
have
have
time
far
for
too much to
Kagayaki.
talk about, little Jakey boy. Boom.
I need to come clean. I've always thought that Piper was cuter than Bubbles. Just know that if I say the opposite in the future, I am lying.
Ooh.
Kind of always thought.
Ouch.
That one stings.
Kinda
These
always
are
thought.
Jake's dog and Ryan's dog, right?
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
I appreciate you clarifying for the fans, but the way you phrased it sounded like you don't know what our pets are. Despite
It's like Max Toad.
I wasn't sure if it
and
was
the
your
squirrel
daughter,
outside.
Ryan, or your dog. I'm sorry.
It's very hard to distinguish between Piper and Riley. They're both making very equally loud sounds at this point in time, and with the same amount of whatever. They're both loud and annoying. Let's talk about Terano Fuji and his Yusho. So he had a very tumultuous and at some points controversial, I guess, final 5 days did Terano Fuji.
You don't say.
Started off 10-0. But on day 11, and we'll dive more into it later, he did lose via a hair pull in a match that, had the hair pull not happened, easily would have been a victory over Miyogiryu. But the hair pull did happen. They did call it, so he did lose that match. On day 13, he had a 2-win lead over 10-3 Takakeisho and Endo. No one in that position has ever lost the Yusho before. At least that's what somebody on Twitter said. I did not go and verify that.
Yeah.
So
I think according to the English commentator on day 13, he described that 2-win lead as a 2-win bulge for Terano Fuji.
I would also have a very large bulge if I had a 2-win lead after day 13. But then we get to day 14, and Terano Fuji loses a very close match to Endo. Some people want to throw some controversy in that. I don't think any of us are having that.
there are some bad takes on the dead body rule out there on the internet.
Yeah.
I think all four of us unanimously think that the judging was correct in that match, right?
Correct.
At the it's definitely kind of weird with the dead body, but at the end of the day, if you touch down first, you lost.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's
And
definitely what happened. You can't argue that.
Endo still had a foot planted in the dohyo, and I
Was
don't
in
know
the
that I've
power
ever.
position.
Yeah, I don't know that I've ever seen anybody called as a dead body when they still had a foot in the dohyo and the other guy was airborne. So yeah, no real controversy in our opinion there. But him losing on day 14, that dwindled his lead down to 1 over Takakeisho and Endo. So what we had was a potential 3-way playoff.
Only
If-
a 1-win bulge. If you would.
Not as good as the 2-win bulge.
Nope.
So if Takakeisho were to beat Terano Fuji on day 15, we would be guaranteed a playoff. And to determine whether or not it was a 2 or 3-person playoff was if Endo beat Shodai on day 15. And so day 15, Teruno Fuji did lose to Takakeisho. Very fast match. Teruno Fuji went right into Takakeisho, and Takakeisho's just like, get down on the
Nope,
ground.
done.
Yeah.
A very good, I would say, very well played by Takakeisho.
Yeah, good read. Good
like
read.
Sometimes his sumo is very subtle, but like it's like his pushing and pulling is just top notch, top tier.
He's what I really like about him is his lateral movement is so unpredictable. Like obviously Teruno Fuji didn't predict it, but like he's so much quicker than he should be for a spherical man, and he just doinks like a couple inches to the left or something at a given time, and suddenly the other guy's on the ground.
I would argue that Teruno Fuji did predict it in their next match, but this match definitely not.
Yeah.
But so yeah, we definitely had a 2-person playoff. But Endo, doing exactly what you expect out of Endo, loses to Shodai and is out of the playoff. He builds you up. He looks good. He looks amazing. And then the next day is just like, just let him back me out of the dojo real simple like, and just basically look like I'm not putting a whole lot of effort into this.
Yeah, that's definitely just my impression of Endo. Like everyone wants him to do well. He has moments of brilliance where he just gets crazy wins, but like the consistency is just not there. But apparently someone on the award committee just believed in him so hard. Like this now is when Endo's time comes.
Yeah, he's going to win 3 matches over Ozeki on the final day, and then he will take home that outstanding performance prize. Yeah. Oh yeah, but I was after day 14, I was in a very sour spot for some reason, mostly because it looked like I was going to lose the prediction series, but also Teruno Fuji was looking like he might blow the tournament. But I was just preparing myself for like, all right, Endo's going to win this, and I'm going to be very mean to Endo fans. But like, yeah, he won this one, but next time I guarantee you he's going to have a losing record. He's going to break your heart and all that stuff. And I mean, next time I still think he's going to have a losing record because he's going to
break your hearts again.
Yeah, just prepare yourself, Endo fans. This feeling isn't going to last.
It's not going to happen.
All right. And so we only had a 2-person playoff. And like we said, Teruno Fuji won that match. And it's a beautiful mirror between this Basho and the November tournament that Takakeisho won, because Takakeisho going into the final day was leading by 1 match. And his final day opponent was Teruno Fuji. Teruno Fuji defeated Takakeisho to force a playoff, but then Takakeisho won the rematch to take the Yusho. This time, it just happened the opposite. Teruno Fuji had the lead going in the final day. Takakeisho was able to beat him to force the playoff, but he wasn't able to beat him again to take the Yusho.
One thing that I really loved about this one was you got to see Teruno Fuji adjust his strategy. So in the first meeting, he charges in, Takakeisho moves, slaps him down. In this one, he does a reserve tachiai. They hit, and then he stands up. And you can see Takakeisho was expecting him to barrel forward, but both of them stood up and then just did a flailing Supari match and just chased each other around the ring. Excellent on Teruno Fuji's part.
Yeah, it's always a good sign of a champion to see the little adjustments from match to match.
Mm-hmm.
And we definitely saw that with Teruno Fuji. Like some people I think of who maybe they don't necessarily try to adjust. They just try to do their brand of sumo and be damned if it's the smart idea or not. Or like Onosho and Hokuto Fuji. Like they're just going to push.
Hey.
Even if it's and even if they lose, they're gonna keep on pushing to this day. But like just seeing that from Teruno Fuji was really nice. I'll also add the context coming into this match. Teruno Fuji was actually 0-4 in playoff matches, and that's including the Jonidan Yusho where he lost at 7-0. And so it was kind of cool to kind of see him also kind of take that next step and clinch it out like in the playoff, and also against Takakeisho, who denied him the Yusho last time in November.
Yeah, Teruno Fuji was able to beat a lot of demons in this Basho. I feel like he went up against Onosho, who kind of had his number quite a bit, was able to take him out. He went up against Takayasu, who has had his number in a big way since he has come back and was able to take out Takayasu. Takakeisho is another guy that kind of has Teruno Fuji's number. Takakeisho has a winning record against Teruno Fuji, and he was able to take him out in the playoff rematch. So, and he was able to win a playoff for the first time in his career. So Teruno Fuji tackled a lot of demons to get this Yusho. Also kind of showed his mental stability, not letting the fact that he lost the match due to the hair pull, didn't let that ruin like his mindset going into the next couple matches. He looked just as dominant in those next 2 matches as he did the entire week and a half before that. So this is a very momentous Yusho for Teruno Fuji, getting his 4th career. So I did a little bit of research about that. But Flair, you got something before that?
Yeah, just one thing. I kind of mentioned this in our group chat. It's that Isegahama, his Oyakata, really kind of did him dirty during this Basho. So he was a ringside judge apparently on both of those decisions that went against him, the disqualification for hair pull, and then I guess the controversial one against Endo. But like each time Isegahama was like no. Like it was the other guy, not my boy Teruno Fuji. He needs to win twice as hard to get the wins.
All right. So a few facts about this Yusho win for Teruno Fuji. So now he is only the 2nd Rikishi in history to win a Yusho at Sekiwake, and then the following Yusho as an Ozeki in the next Basho. And no, to anybody thinking this, he will not be promoted. He got back-to-back Yusho. He's not going to be promoted to Yokozuna because he was not an Ozeki for both of them. But the only other guy, I'm curious if anybody knows this. Does anybody know the only other guy that was a Sekiwake, won the Yusho, and then won the next Basho as an Ozeki? Little Jakey boy had his finger up first.
Futabayama.
That is correct. The all-time great Futabayama, back in the 1930s when they only had 2 Basho per year. And so Teruno Fuji is now one of only 4 Rikishi that have won a total of 4 Yusho in their career. The other 3 are Yokozuna Asahi Fuji, Yokozuna Kagami Sato, and Yokozuna Kaga. I had Yokozuna Kagami Sato in there twice. I'll go back and figure out who the other guy was, because there weren't 2 Yokozuna named Kagami Sato that did this. So I will correct myself when I have a moment. But there are 31 Rikishi that have won more Yusho than him. So there are 31 Rikishi that have won more than 4 Yusho in their career. There are 30 Yokozuna and 1 Kaio on that list. So Kaio and Teruno Fuji are the only 2 Rikishi to have 4 or more Yusho and not be Yokozuna. And then we talked about this before, but this is the first playoff win in 4 tries for Teruno Fuji at the Makuuchi level. So he could feasibly have 3 more Yusho in his career had those all gone the other way. So he could have anywhere between 4 and 7 Yusho right now, which kind of puts him in a different perspective, I think, if you kind of think of it in that line. Ultimately, he lost them. So he only has 4 Yusho, but I never really thought of him as a guy that, my God, he could have 7 Yusho. He could have more Yusho than Kakuyu right now.
Yeah, 7 Yusho and 1 Jonidan Yusho.
Yeah, yes. Very importantly, 1 Jonidan Yusho.
What do you think the odds are that he does surpass Kakuyu, Yokozuna or not? Like, I feel at this point, the standard asterisk of knee health and what have you, but talent-wise, I think he looks as dominant as Kakuyu ever did. Consistently.
How many shows does Kakuyu have?
6.
Like 6? 4?
Yeah, my question is more, do you think Teruno Fuji overpasses Kakuyu this year or next year?
You're saying, so it's an eventuality is what you're saying.
As
long as his knees hold.
The knees, yeah. I hate that every time we talk about Teruno Fuji's future, we have to bring up, like, yeah, we know his knees are going to explode one day. But his knees are just as bad as they have been, and he's just won back-to-back Yusho, so I don't see any reason why he shouldn't keep winning Yusho, unless Hakuho got like a mechanical knee joint put in this last surgery, and he's going to last for another 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, I guess I'll have a take on that. To surpass, he needs to win 2 of the next 3 Basho, right?
To surpass, he would need 3. To tie, he would need 2.
Yes. Okay, so 3, yeah. And I just don't see that happening with Takakeisho, how close they are at the moment. Like, they just went, equal records, and one playoff went one way, the other playoff went the other. And Takakeisho won the first match against the 2. There's no way. I think they're too well matched to get all 3 from just one person.
Yeah, if you eliminate the controversial losses, though, I mean, considering the hair pull, like, now whichever way you want to really go on to that side, eliminating that one and assuming that he actually got the win, he still has a better record than Takakeisho. The playoff would never have happened.
It's possible, but you gotta win those. So,
well, yeah,
I get what you're saying though. He looked in really good form. It looked like Teruno Fuji was like the more dominant Rikishi. When the record was definitely a lot closer.
Yeah. So What about you, Jake? You posed the question, but what are your thoughts on it?
I don't know. I can't trust the health stuff. I know everybody's got health stuff, but his seems more obvious. I don't know. I kind of put it out there because I didn't have the answer and I wanted you guys to talk about it for a minute.
Oh.
Yeah. We are always happy to give our wisdom, little Jakey boy.
Yep.
So you can,
I know it. I know it.
Yeah. So you can learn more about sumo from how we.
I appreciate you.
Because I know you need to know more about sumo because you are hurting in that regard.
As a wee little loser boy, yes.
Do we have a? This is a nice segue to do another dice roll. I think.
Sure is. Let's do it.
I'm glad
Dice roll.
you said it, Fleric. Boom.
Mummy movie franchise, more like crummy movie franchise. Am I right?
No, you're wrong.
No.
How dare you?
Yep. There goes Ryan, defender of the Tom Cruise Mummy franchise.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Let's clarify.
Yeah.
Brendan Fraser.
Oh yeah, Brendan Fraser is the true mummy fighting man. I will hear nothing else. All right,
Now that I've defended the Tom Cruise Mummy movie, Ryan's like, I guess whatever.
All right, so obviously Terunofuji as an Ozeki has just won a Yusho, which that means he's on a Yokozuna run. So the aforementioned Issei Gahama, who absolutely screwed Terunofuji twice in this Basho by ruling against him,
Yes.
has said that the next Basho, Terunofuji, will indeed be on a rope run. He is quoted as saying 3 Yusho within a year, 2 consecutive. If he comes up with the proper results, it will be on the table. I know that like saying it will be on the table makes it seem ambiguous, but
Come on.
what I've seen in other things, I will actually get to a quote later on in this episode from Issei Gahama. It feels like if he needs a specific record, he's going to say it. But if he's just like, yeah, if he wins a Yusho, it'll be on the table. That means, yeah, if he wins the Yusho, he's going to get the Yokozuna promotion.
Can you imagine if they didn't give it to him?
Oh.
The people screaming racism because of the hair pull will just have
People
a
are screaming
field day.
racism already. Like, and
Yeah.
he,
Which
like,
I think I could speak for all of us. Just shut up. Everything that goes against the Mongolian in sumo wrestling isn't racism. Is there some? Probably.
Well,
But we can't say every single thing that happens against a Mongolian rikishi when his fingers did get tangled in Miyogiryu's hair and pull on it a little bit was racism. So shut up.
at least for this particular Basho, like, I don't think there's any of these specific events could be construed that way, in my opinion. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yusho winner and likely future Yokozuna Terunofuji here, just so
rope
discriminated
runner.
against, right?
Oh, and something else. I didn't do the research on it again, but I'm pretty sure Terunofuji probably has like the lowest winning percentage in Yusho winning Basho of any multi-Yusho winning rikishi. It's 3 12-3s and a 13-2.
oh wow. Yeah.
That was a mouthful, but I think I'm with you.
I got there.
Yeah,
You did it.
I think that just points to the parity we're seeing at the top right now.
Oh yeah.
Like everyone's just kind of really close and good.
So let's move on to the runner-up Takakeisho, and I feel like this has kind of gone under the radar, at least for me. But he is quietly putting together the best, like not calendar year, but just like 6 Basho of Ozeki level sumo that we've seen since us 4 have been watching sumo. I mean, if you just look at his past 6 Basho, you have 4 double-digit win Bashos, 3 of those with at least 12 wins. So even if you're looking at Asanoyama, he probably has like 5 out of 6 double digits, but he only ever tops out at like 1, 12, and 11.
I was about
and a
to
couple
say
of
it's not
10s.
that high.
But Asanoyama doesn't have 1 Yusho and 2 June Yusho, one of those June Yusho being in a playoff to his record as well. And Takakeisho is still only 24.
He's a baby.
Yeah. So he's putting together a very impressive year, albeit he does have 2 where he pulled out due to injury, and especially that one after he won the November Basho was very odd, I think, given how it's been sandwiched between other great tournaments by Takakeisho. And like I said before, he has a winning record against all the other current Ozeki. Asanoyama, 5-4 against him. Shodai, 9-5 against him. Teruno Fuji, 4-2 record against him. So I'm just here to say Takakeisho's really good.
Indeed.
Here's another fun fact for you. He has, in tournaments that he has completed all 15 matches. Let's see. Yep, he has 2 Makekoshi in the lifetime of this podcast.
Wow.
He's pretty good at the sumo.
He's good at the sumos.
When he doesn't pull out, that's amazing.
When he doesn't pull out, which he has done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times in that same time span. So, yeah, I think he's low key just as much a glass cannon to worry about as Teruno Fuji, but he just doesn't have 30 pounds of tape on him all Basho, so it's harder to see it. But yeah, he does get injured a lot. But yeah, his youth combined with his, the fact that he's already a multi-time Yusho winner at Ozeki, that's super cool.
Yeah, super cool. I kind of noticed like a cool thing about his form. And I think might be kind of injury prevention kind of thing. He has excellent layout form, like the way he lands on the ground. Coming from a ultimate frisbee background, which I love to play, there was actually a correct way when you kind of dive forward and land. You actually kind of want to land on your chest and kind of slide forward. And he has done that pretty much every single time he falls down. He does that. And I think it was most notably on day 13 when he actually kind of fell off the dohyo. He did the same thing where he just kind of landed on his chest. And I think he does it often enough. I think it's on purpose. And I think that's actually really smart. Because if you land on your side, like on your shoulder or elbow, that's how you can easily hurt yourself. But he's just kind of using that extra layer of fat to kind of protect himself and just kind of fall the correct way. So.
Fall on the biggest pillow that you have, which is
Exactly,
in front of you. Yeah, and I know that it wasn't like intentional, but like the way that Kisano... Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
The next example that I was going to bring up was Kisano Sato. I know it wasn't like intentional that he fell the way he did, obviously, but part of the reason he got hurt was that he landed like partially on his side, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we see that a lot in other sports too, especially if you land like on your elbow, that puts all of the impact onto your shoulder. And yeah, if you are spherical, just land on the bouncy part. Like that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So have been seeing some people saying like, okay, well, Takakeisho's an Ozeki. He just got a Yusho equivalent. If he wins the Yusho next time, or like, I think the most popular thing you're going to be hearing in the next couple months. What if the same exact situation happens next Basho, but reversed, and Takakeisho defeats Teruno Fuji in a playoff? Will both of them get promoted? Will none of them get promoted? Flaric, what are your thoughts?
My thought is can you define Yusho equivalent and whether or not it's actually a thing?
I mean, yeah. So Yusho equivalent is like a high June Yusho, like 13-2, 14-1 June Yusho, or like a playoff loss. I think we just need to look at Kisano Sato and Kakuryu as the two most recent examples for a Yusho equivalent, followed by a Yusho, and then Yokozuna.
Importantly, Futa Haguro is the guy from the 80s that never actually won any Yusho outright, but he had 2 like equivalents in a row at Ozeki, and they're like, okay, you can be Yokozuna now. And then he flamed out like scandals, right? I think that's why he quit early. So there's one Yokozuna that has 0 Yusho, and obviously they want to avoid that. But I feel like, Kisano Sato had the very, very... Ryan, do you know what his actual record was in his...
Yeah, so when he was promoted to Yokozuna, he had a 12-3 June Yusho, followed up by a 14-1 Yusho, which got him the Yokozuna performance. But prior to that 12-3 June Yusho, it was 13-2 June Yusho, 13-2 June Yusho, 12-3 June Yusho, 10-5, 12-3 June Yusho.
Yeah,
so
he was certainly on a run. They were just basically waiting for him to get the win, and then they're like, cool, do it.
Done. But it was 12-3 June Yusho, just like Takakeisho currently has, followed by a 14-1 Yusho. So I was going to come into this and say, no, definitely not Takakeisho. I don't think he's on any sort of rope run. But maybe if he gets 14-1, 15-0 next time, and like we were talking about, he does have several high-quality Yusho over the past year. Now, though, I think the thing that might hamper him is that Haru Basho, where he did go 10-8-5. So that might kind of make
That's
them
too
think.
many.
Yeah.
Oh, 2, 8, and 5.
Yeah, did I say
Yeah,
10, 8,
2,
and
8,
5?
and 5.
You did, yeah.
2, 8, and
Yeah.
5, yeah.
2, 8, and 5.
He went above and beyond. He wrestled 23 matches.
A
no.
lot of playoffs going on there.
Yeah, a couple of different outfits,
Yeah.
couple mustaches.
But yeah, so maybe it's a possibility. The evidence I'm pointing to this time is saying it's not, is we got a statement from Issei Kahama whether or not Teruno Fuji was on a rope run. We'll get to it later, but we got a statement from Issei Kahama on what it's going to take for Takayasu to be promoted to Ozeki the next time. Why wouldn't he give a statement about Takakeisho if Takakeisho was on a rope run?
Isikahama has both those Rikishi, I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
Issei Kahama doesn't have Takayasu.
Oh, they don't?
No, Takayasu is like
Oh, yeah.
Taganoura or something.
You're
like
right.
that.
Kisei's own stable.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's coming
entirely
from
right.
Issei Kahama because Issei Kahama is the head of the Shinpan department who make those decisions.
Yeah, not because it's
Oh.
like his specific wrestler, right?
Yes,
He's
yeah.
just the guy where that statement would come
Yeah,
from.
Got it.
So
I would be like, let's say Takakeisho does 15-0, just like hypothetically. I think that would be, I'm mainly because I would love to see two guys promoted at the same time in particular. That would be friggin' awesome. But yeah, I think that, I don't think that, this has any recent precedent, like in the last, 20, 25 years. We'd have to go back to the 90s before I'm unsure of what the situations were for promotions, but I think it'd be really cool. I do know in the past there have been simultaneous Yokozuna promotions. Was it like Taiho and like his much lesser rival, maybe something like that?
no
I don't
idea.
know. I know it
I
has
don't know.
happened, and I think it would be super cool if both of these guys did well enough. And yeah, you'd probably need Takakeisho to actually take the U show for him to be considered. So yeah, I don't know. I'm really hoping for that because I think that'd be super cool.
It would be interesting. While I was looking back at those old records with Kakuryu and Kisano Sato, I mostly kind of assumed they kind of went the Yusho equivalency idea just because there's the era of Hakuho, who was just so dominant in the step above. But maybe they were kind of going with that. Maybe they were just going with that. The fact that it was a playoff and it was essentially equivalent, other than they just could not clinch it out. So
Technically, it's still the era of Hakuho.
technically, yeah.
The twilight of Hakuho.
Yeah.
So I guess I could go either way. Whether or not they do that in an era where Hakuho is not nearly as dominant, I don't know. But I'll be curious to kind of watch and find out.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see if it was a 14-1 playoff that Takakeisho won next time, and both of them beat Hakuho. Let's say that would they promote Teruno Fuji? I mean, it would be his best Basho that he's ever had. He's only ever had 13-2 as his best record, but not winning the Yusho, would they promote somebody coming off of a non-Yusho Basho? I don't know the last time that's happened other than Futahaguro, as you said, Jake, but I think they've kind of learned their lesson from that. But again, it's Teruno Fuji. He's already got 4. So who knows?
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to
Who
see.
knows?
I like that both of these guys have multiple U-show already because that means
That
that
helps.
it helps.
Mhm.
And recent ones.
Yes.
And just for the record, since we brought him up, Kakuryu, he was 14-1, lost in a playoff, and then 14-1, won the Yusho, and then he was Yokozuna. But the two Basho prior to those two 14-1s were 2 9-6s, and then previous to that were 2 10-5s, and previous to that were 2 8-7s. So it's not like Kakuryu was lighting the world on fire until those two 14-1s. So yeah, we'll see. I don't know if the fact that it was a 12-3 Yusho will hurt Takakeisho. Well, no, like I said,
I was about to say it shouldn't.
Kisano Sato got in with a 12-3 Jun Yusho
Exactly.
and a 14-1 Yusho. So I think maybe 14 might be a magic number we're looking for to get both of them up there with a
14 and
Takakeisho
15.
playoff win over Teruno Fuji. A straight Yusho of any kind, I think, gets Teru in.
I'm looking back. I found one in 1970. We got Tamano Umi and Kitano Fuji were simultaneously promoted. It doesn't say who actually. I'll have to take another. I'll look in a separate spot here to see who actually won this one. But they went to a playoff in January 1970, and then were both Yokozuna in the next tournament.
Okay.
Wow, that's really cool.
That's
Awesome.
some good researching, little Jakey boy.
Screw you. It looks like Kitano Fuji probably won because in that following tournament he was Yokozuna East. But
Okay.
regardless, January 1970, 13-2, they go to a playoff. Next tournament, they're both Yokozuna.
Awesome.
And a correction from my part. So the second Yokozuna Kagami Sato and the people that have for Yusho should have been Yokozuna Takano Sato. So just wanted to clear the air there, make sure that we got all the facts out there.
Neither man I know.
Yeah. All right. So Jake, this is kind of something that I hear on my sports radio shows when they're talking about football. They talk about the older quarterback who's really good versus a younger quarterback who looks like he's pretty good, but not quite as good as the older one. If you were to start a Heya right now with either Takakeisho or Teruno Fuji, who would you choose to sign?
I would probably go with Teruno Fuji because I think they're both clearly successful. I think they both have a pretty solid chance at Yokozuna at some time or another here. I would pick Teruno Fuji because his style and experience would probably be more helpful with younger guys. But I don't know. I don't think there's a wrong answer here. But yeah, I'd probably go with Teruno Fuji.
Okay. Any of you other guys have a thought on that?
I will go opposite, but I'm not a Heya runner.
Yeah, I mean, if you're thinking about it from the perspective
Yeah.
of like, are we picking the guy who's going to win more tournaments lifetime? Because I
Mhm.
don't know. But
Yeah.
if I'm picking the guy that I would want from the perspective of like a coach, I'd probably want the guy that's primarily a belt wrestler.
Teruno Fuji is also like, he's really big. I don't know if you know this.
Yes.
He wins a lot of matches just by being bigger and stronger than any other guy. So
And see, for that reason, that's why I'd kind of want Takakeisho, actually, because he's at a size disadvantage, at least vertically. So in that case, he's going to have to employ several different tactics, and he's young, so you can keep working with him, and you can work with all the younger Rikishi that you're trying to build up. So for me, I'd go with Takakeisho.
Just realizing that we need to pick up the pace a little bit, probably on little Jakey boy comments. So, Jake, if you would turn your attention to the punishment document.
Yeah. Primus really is not that good. I mean, just listen to them. How could anybody like that music? Now, Limp Bizkit, their music slaps. Ouch.
Yeah.
On the other hand, do you know what people chant at Primus concerts? Like what
Is
their
it "We
signature?
wish you were Limp Biscuit"?
No, their signature chant is Primus sucks.
They know.
Oh, what? Okay.
All right. So somebody who has been very conspicuous by his absence from our conversation is Asanoyama. I think we're probably just going to kind of bullet point this real quick because we've spent a lot of time on Teruno Fuji and Takakeisho. So Asanoyama, during day 11, during the Makuuchi matches of day 11, a tabloid dropped the story. And so all the details that I'm going to be pulling are from the Tachi blog article, Asanoyama absent from day 12 due to COVID guideline violations, written by Haruth. So he apparently went to a specific hostess club at least twice on April 30th and May 7th. And that seems very innocuous at face value. But it is important because the JSA COVID restrictions require that Rikishi refrain from making unnecessary outings and interacting with people outside of the Heya from between when the Bansuke is published and the last day of the tournament. The Bansuke was published April 26th. He was reportedly out April 30th and May 7th. The JSA Compliance Committee had apparently heard about this news prior to the tabloid dropping the story. They had asked Asanoyama about it, and Asanoyama said that the accusations were groundless. Then the story dropped, and some of the details included in that story, they talked about the specific club, the times of the visits, a description of Asanoyama wearing a hood over his head and ordering champagne to celebrate one of the hostesses who was quitting the job. And then they had a couple of photographs of him in a taxi next to the club and then later next to the Heya. After the story dropped, Asanoyama admitted to at least part of the story and went Kyujo. So real quick, just a real quick meeting of JSA West for some irresponsible speculation and suggestions. Part one, there will be more. What do you guys think his punishment should be for the COVID violation restrictions? Obviously, what he did on its own, in a perfect world, nobody would care about this. But since he broke the COVID restrictions, What do we think his punishment should be? Fleric, what do you think?
Yeah, it's there's kind of some interesting parts with this. One, he disobeyed I guess direct rule set by the Sumo Association, which was he couldn't go hang out with people. And it's a very good rule because obviously the cases in Japan are not looking too good at the moment. But then there's the second part of where he kind of lied to his Oyakata or to someone in the Sumo Association. And in the past, that there was some precedents there where that's kind of really bad. The famous one being Tsunarashi, who was driving at one point, and he kind of he wasn't supposed to drive, and he said his wife was driving. But then later out, that's what he told the Sumo Association. But then it came out that he actually was the one driving. He lied to them, and so that was kind of the precedent to where he kind of retired from there. So there's kind of and the previous one were breaking COVID restrictions. Abi, he got a 3 Basho suspension for that one. So there's kind of some precedence of where, this is bad. He's probably going to get suspended for some Bashos. The kind of a lot of people saying because he lied that he's probably going to go retire or something like that, which it's kind of hard to know what the Sumo Association is going to do. I think that would be silly for him to retire. He's still very young. He's still very promising. What he did was very silly, and lying is very not good. But I just don't see that he should give up his sumo career for that. I kind of guessing what will probably. I guess I'm just gonna say that I don't think he should retire.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think it needs to be worse than Abi's punishment because he did the same thing Abi did, but he also lied about it, which Abi did not do. So in my ideal world, I think I would say a 4 Basho suspension because I think if the math is correct, that would get him down to Bakushita.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe he retires at that point anyway. I think I was actually going to sumo forums a little bit, and Kitama Yama had said, I think you pulled this quote, Fleric, that if they suspended Asanoyama long enough that he ended up in Makushita, basically that Asanoyama didn't have the testicular fortitude to fight at 2 p.m. again instead of 6 p.m.
This coming from the Ball Mountain himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
I was gonna say I personally think that's crazy. I think Asanoyama is very hungry. He did a dumb mistake, but I think his dad came out saying that he doesn't want to retire. He still might hand in his resignation papers, but yeah, I personally don't see that testicular fortitude in question myself.
Yeah, I think if it's up to him, I don't think that he would retire on his own. But at the same time, yeah, it has to be somehow worse than Abi's punishment because it's the same crime, but with the attempted cover up here.
And he's
pushing the microphone away from me.
Yeah.
But to put it in perspective here, COVID is a big deal in Japan right now. I know, most of our listeners are American, and here we're kind of finally getting people vaccinated, getting things under control. But Japan's numbers, by the way, vaccination or otherwise, are literally as bad as they ever have been. Just as bad as their winter surge, where everybody had a surge. They're back up to that again now. There's roughly 4 times as many deaths per day as there were when they canceled the Basho last year. So it's just for perspective, it's a big deal right now. You can't let it go. You can't go easy on him, I don't think. But I don't know. I don't want to lose Asanoyama because even if he chokes sometimes, even if we make jokes about him being capping out at 11 wins forever, I still want him to be there.
Right.
Conspiracy theory, he did this on purpose to avoid Teruno Fuji and never having to fight him again.
Tinfoil hat theory.
The story did drop before he had to face him this tournament.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's figured, okay, 3 Basho suspension. That should get me down to Juryo. By the time I work my way back up to having to face Teruno Fuji, his knees will have exploded and he'll retire, and then it's smooth sailing for me the rest of my life. So I think this is a big brain move by Asanoyama.
Time will tell. Time will tell.
All right. Before we get to Patreon compliments, let's get to little Jakey boy punishments.
I forgot to take myself off mute because I was so upset. I voted for Donald Trump twice.
As is your right, good sir.
Ooh.
Ah,
Okay.
No judgment. That is your right.
I'm gonna go back on mute for a while.
Not for too long. We have some compliments to give out to our patrons. Mac, why don't you kick us off here?
Indeed, we do. Rob Shields. Hinkaku was modeled after you.
Josh Rob Nolte. You are a brilliant golden god, and we are not worthy of your attention.
I actually pulled my college roommate Trent for this one, so I had a special one. Trent, if I were Asanoyama, you would be the hostess I'd throw my career in the dumpster for.
And Jorge or George, I'm not sure, and Sandra Lamarca, your milkshake brings all the boys to the yard.
What?
Speaking of the
Her
milkshake,
brings all the boys to the yard, Mac.
speaking
All right.
of milkshake that brings the boys to the yard, we're talking about Shodai.
Jeez.
The guy did clear Kadoban, but he did
Not convincingly. These were ugly.
They were ugly. It was old Shodai sumo that we were seeing. And he's probably very lucky that he didn't have to face Asanoyama or Terano Fuji. Those are two likely losses, and that would have put him at 7 and 8, and he would be.
Which would
a
have made me
Sekiwake
right,
now.
and I'd have been happier, but no.
We did get a quote from Chairman Hakaku, chairman of JSA East, and the translation from this from @SumoFollower. He said about Shodai, the contents of his sumo is completely different to that which led to his Ozeki promotion. He shouldn't breathe with relief about 8 wins. He must be more strict with himself. So, Fleric, I want to ask you, I don't know what expectations you had of Shodai as an Ozeki, but have your expectations of Shodai as an Ozeki changed over his last 2 tournaments where his sumo just hasn't looked good?
He's playing right into my narrative of Shodai, which is down the middle of he does well, he does, and then when you expect him to do well, he does bad. Then when as soon as you expect him to do bad, he gets those 8 wins and he does well.
Of all
No,
the
he's-
wrestlers out there, he is one of them.
Yes, he is one of them. I think he's gonna probably lose some, win some. I don't know. He seems like another Go-Away though. I'm not expecting maybe a long career because that's kind of perfect formula to stay at Ozeki for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not expecting Yokozuna quality from him.
Yeah, we'll see in the next Basho if he does have his Ozeki career kind of set in stone, because for him it's been Kadoban, clear Kadoban, Kadoban, clear Kadoban. So if he goes Kadoban after next time, we just kind of know what Shodai's going to be doing.
We
for the
found our new
entirety of his
Goedo.
Ozeki.
We found our new Goedo.
But I expected this of Shodai coming into it, so I'm not going to hate him for it.
Oh.
So on our preview episode, we did kind of try to predict what the Ozeki records would look like on the final day, and Fleric was just firing on all cylinders because he had the best prediction of the final lineup for the Ozeki. So the final lineup was Terano Fuji was best, then Takakeisho, then Shodai, then Asanoyama. Fleric predicted Terano Fuji, Takakeisho, Asanoyama, and then Shodai. Without Asanoyama having to pull out, he could have been right on the money there.
He absolutely would have
Yeah.
been right on the money there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So good job, Fleric, just dominating the prognostication in every way, shape, and form this Basho.
And then I'll be the true Shodai for next Basho. I totally just blow
you're
it.
not going to have Terano Fuji as your champ next Basho. So
It's true.
we're going to be looking at Yokozuna Little Jakey Boy next time because he's going to have Terano Fuji.
Oh, goody.
And then also on the preview episode, we kind of wanted to track like, all right, let's assume these Ozeki were Yokozuna. How many gold stars would they be given out? And Twitter follower @SumoTim, he actually compiled some of the data for him, and everybody should follow @sumo_Tim on Twitter. He gives out daily awards for each day of the tournament, like match of the day, comeback of the day, and more. Does those awards, all the same awards every day for every day of the tournament. So check @sumo_Tim out on Twitter.
And he does research that we can then exploit, which is like
Yes.
the best kind of person to find on Twitter.
That's right. So he has compiled like how many Kimboshi would our Ozeki have given up in the past 5 Basho, which we're just kind of calling the Nokozuna era because no Yokozuna have been participating. So it's starting in Aki of 2020. Asanoyama would have given up 11 Kinboshi for this tournament. Takakeisho would have given up 12 Kinboshi, just won this tournament, but 6 in that disastrous Hatsu Basho, where he would have pulled out way sooner if he was a Yokozuna. Shodai has given up 9 Kinboshi, but that's only over 4 Basho, and Terunofuji would have given up 2 Kinboshi this time, one of those being the hair pull one.
So they all would have been in pretty close to the same situation if you extrapolate from that.
Yeah.
So roughly 10.
He also gave us stats for the last 10 Ozeki not to reach Yokozuna ever. What were their records as Ozeki versus Maegashira? And so our 4 current guys, they're sitting. Shodai has a 73% winning percentage versus Maegashira. Asanoyama also at 73, Takakeisho at 71, and Terunofuji at 6-5. And that's kind of in line with the previous guys that we've been seeing that never made it up to the Yokozuna level. The lowest record as an Ozeki versus Maegashira there was Tochi Noshin, only had a 56% winning record against Maegashira, and the highest level was Baruto at 79%. So our guys are kind of right in between there. So they're kind of fighting at a level against the Maegashira where you wouldn't expect them to be promoted. And then he also provided us the last 5 Yokozuna. What were their records as Ozeki versus Maegashira? And you look at Hakuho, 90%. Kakuryu, 85%. Kisano Sato, 81%. Haramafuji, 82%. And then Asashoryu is 88%. And so it looks like our Ozeki need to have a not considerable, but they do need to step up their game against the Maegashira to kind of be fighting at previous Yokozuna level.
Yeah, there's some asterisks here of where the Ozeki, they stay Ozeki, then during the twilight of the career, they start to fall off.
Mm-hmm.
While the Yokozuna, they only Ozeki for a very short time, and usually they're very hot during that time. So,
are you trying to put meaning behind the numbers? Because we don't do that here. We just take the numbers at face value.
I think it's worth noting
Please
also.
continue.
Yeah, I think it's worth noting also that Terunofuji's kind of cruddy percentage is in large part due to his previous Ozeki run. When he was just crapping the bed over and over again for like his last year or two at the rank.
But for Takakeisho and Terunofuji, this Basho, against Maegashira, Takakeisho won 90% of his matches. Terunofuji won 80% of his matches. Asterisk for the hair pull. So also 90%, so they were kind of fighting what you would expect a Yokozuna to do against the Maegashira ranks. So that's good to see from those 2 guys. I did have some other stats about, because we talked about Shodai had mentioned Kadoban. Do you get like a bump from that in your next tournament? I compiled up a bunch of stats in order to save time. Basically going to say it's if you're an Ozeki that had a winning record in the previous tournament, your chances of having a winning record this tournament are 81%. If you're an Ozeki who had a losing record in the previous tournament, your chance of having a winning record in this tournament is 83%. So
2% margin.
2% boost. Not
that sounds like noise. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So not really. You don't get a boost for being a Ozeki or a Kadoban Ozeki.
Kadoban.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm sure case by case, some people, some people that pressure worked, some people it didn't, but it cancels out.
Yeah, you might not become stronger, but you definitely become more slippery, at least in the case of Shodai.
Yeah. All right. Before we jump to Sekiwake and Komosubi, little Jakey boy.
Hit me. People who refer to their dogs as their children are weird. Dogs are property and should be treated as such. Oh, screw you guys.
That one's actually my wife. So
I was about to say, it come from us, man.
I think she's better at this than you are, Ryan.
Oh, you don't know which ones I came up with.
I still feel like you should outsource this one to Gabby. She could have really torn me to shreds.
All right, well, let's see how the next one does. Let's get a 2 for here.
Movies are a terrible medium. All stories worth a damn are best shot as a multicam sitcom filmed before a live studio audience. No! Started out not too hurtful, but damn.
And that one's a Fleric special.
So. That one came from Fleric.
Well done, sir. Yeah. Well done, Yokozuna Fleric.
All right.
You're welcome, little Jakey boy.
All right, Sekiwake and Komosubi, Takayasu. He's keeping the Ozeki promotion dreams alive. He got a 10-5 record. Isekahama Oyakata did say about Takayasu's Ozeki promotion chances for the next tournament because he has had 2 straight double-digit Basho in the Sanyaku. Isekahama says if he wins a Yusho with 13 wins or more next Basho, a return to Ozeki will be on the table. So basically, Takayasu has to do better than he's ever done in his career. And it sounds like, hey, if you get 13-2, but Terunofuji and Takakeisho are 14-1, tough titties, buddy. Try again next time.
Exactly.
So that's why I think
such
Terunofuji, as long as he gets the Yusho, he's good. Because he didn't say a 14-1 Yusho or 13-2 Yusho. He just said Yusho.
And Takayasu's like, nah, you're
Yeah.
screwed.
Yeah,
And he
13
used the same
wins would.
phrase, will
Go
be
ahead.
on the table.
Oh yeah, yeah. 13 wins would put him at the magical 33 number. Even if he doesn't win the Yusho, that'd be just such a dick move. Like, come on. Like, I don't know. There's been some discussion on Twitter that maybe it's harder to get Ozeki back. If you've already proven that you sometimes that you've been demoted from the rank before.
Mhm.
I don't know to put any stock in that. I would.
There was one case, I don't remember the name off the top of my head. I think Masu Noyama around like 2000 or something like that. The name could be completely wrong, but he was an Ozeki. He dropped out of the ranks, and then he had 34 over 3 Basho in the Sanyaku ranks and didn't end up getting promoted. So there might be some evidence to that, like you have to really prove it to come back. Like Terunofuji left no doubt in anybody's mind.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He made
That
it
he
easy.
had to be re-promoted. So maybe they're just wanting to see, like, all right, Takayasu, show that you can be at the highest level.
And I'm not saying that people who make that point are wrong. I'm just saying, like, I'm taking it with a grain of salt because I feel like I don't know. I feel like it is I feel like it is not fair to make it harder on people who have done it before if they're still fulfilling the requirements this time. And consistently winning 10 wins in the Sanyaku is pretty cool. I mean, like that's worthy, I think. And if he can get to just bump it up a little bit more here, that'd be awesome. I don't know. I am a completely unbiased observer with zero emotional stake in this one way or the other, but that's fine. All right, I just want him to be an Ozeki.
Yeah, I think it's super impressive if you can do it twice. So
Yeah, that would be awesome.
I think 33. I wonder, I'm going to look this up right now, but I'm going to check if Guedo, whether or not if he got bumped down, whether he had a good enough record to actually get promoted again.
I don't think he really ever did.
No.
No.
He just kind of stayed in that sweet spot between Kadoban and not Kadoban.
Even when he did get promoted, there was an 8-7 sandwich between 2 12-4s or 12-3s.
He did have a Zensho Yusho, but comparing to someone like, I guess Guedo, he never did have 2 losing records or in a row, but
Until he retired, yeah.
Until
yeah,
he retired.
I say 2 people, someone coming back to Ozeki shows a lot of testicular fortitude.
Flaric's new phrase.
If they
Loves
get to
it.
33, that's pretty damn impressive.
Yeah. And it's not like if he goes 12-3 this time, it's like, crap, I can never be Ozeki. Well, no, now he's working off of a 10-5 and then a 12-3. And then maybe the next one, he just has to go like 11-4 or 12-3 again to get the promotion. So it's not like 13-2 with a Yusho next time, or you're never Ozeki again. It's just like this time with these circumstances, this is what you need. Next time it could be different. Takanosho, the other Sekiwake that we had this time, finally did what we've been saying he would do for the past 4 Basho, except I don't think we said it this time. I think this time we're like, no, he's right about
he's
where
got
he
it.
should be. This feels right for him. Like, no, this time he's 5-10. He's going to drop out of the Sanyaku ranks. Mitake Yumi is doing Mitake Yumi things. He's going to be Sekiwake again. All is right with the world. And Daisho won a Yusho. Who?
Not this time.
That's just Komosubi going 6-9, won a Yusho, 2 Basho ago. Weird.
Yeah, Daisho, Tamawashi, Tokushoryu in particular. It's like, what?
Yeah.
What happened? Where was everyone?
All right. And are there any other Rikishi people want to talk about? Little Jakey boy.
I'd say Endo is worthy of a little bit more of a shout out. He really shows that when he shows up, he is impossible to defeat. it's less his offense. I think it's a lot more his defense and like the traps that he sets for people. Like his counter game once he defends, like with his doing his splits and hopping from one leg to the other, kind of a move that he does. His defense is awesome, and that when it works, it works. And this time it worked slightly more times than it normally does, I guess I'll say.
Yeah, Jake and I were talking a bit yesterday about Endo's match against Takakeisho and how I think, even though Endo was like being backed up to the Tawara, I think he was in control of that match 100% of the time. I think that was his game plan going into the match. Like, okay, Takakeisho is going to come right at me. I'm not going to overpower him. I'll just let him come at me. And then when I feel the Tawara, I'm just going to step to the side and he's going to throw himself off the dojo. It looked too perfect for that not to be the plan that Endo had going into that match for me.
Yeah, and I ran a quick Kimarite analysis on him just because I was curious if there were any strong patterns here. And there's not a ton of strong patterns here. He does pulling moves less often than most people, only slightly. And unsurprisingly, Yorikiri he's more of a grappler than he is a pusher. He wins by Yorikiri at almost twice the normal rate. But interestingly enough, he loses by Yorikiri at about half the normal rate. So he's a guy that maybe this is something we need to pay attention to, but he's another one of those guys that like Tochinoshin used to be. Like if he gets a hold of your belt, he's in a really good position there.
He's gotcha.
Yeah. He's got a lot of grappling moves on his list, pretty high up there.
Mac, were there any other people you wanted to bring up this Basho?
Yes. Chiyomaru did not the standard Chiyomaru things, went 8-7 and is staying in Makuuchi. I'm so proud.
Or one more Basho at least.
You can do it.
Fleric, anybody else catch your eye?
Chiyotaru on day 15, he blatantly hanked Onosho.
We're going to get to that, but like, what a dick.
Yeah. Oh, it's a smart dick.
It was so bad though.
Yeah,
I loved it.
If you fall for that bad, like good for you.
Yeah.
And the disappointment on Onosho's face, like,
yeah. What was the match with
Not
Asashoryu, but Asanoyama, where he got hanked in the beginning, and like it still had a really good match from the beginning after that, right?
I remember what you're talking about.
Yeah, it was Asanoyama versus Wakataka Kage that started off with a henka, and like Asanoyama recovered perfectly. That's what you gotta do when you do your Itachi. You can't go all in like Onosho.
I'd say Chiyotaru is I'd put him probably maybe even top 3 favorite henkas for me. Like second place is definitely Teruno Fuji doing it to Kota Shogaku.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, but number one
Tochinoshin.
The reason that I'm naming my firstborn child, their middle name will be Tochinoshin, Henke, and Kakuryu. Oh man. But yes, this day 15 one from Chiyotaru for like nothing.
Nothing.
Like
I want to make sure I have 10 wins instead of 9.
Yeah, and Onosho coming in at 7-7, like completely psyched up, and then just oh man, that's the shit I live for.
And then for me, I gotta bring him up, Hokuto Fuji. He did end up with a losing record, so I'm glad I didn't put anything on the line that he would get a winning record. But I did follow that up and guarantee that he at least would not finish with double-digit losses after his horrific 0-6 start. He did scramble to go 6-3 for his remaining matches and end up 6-9. So I was at least correct that he would not have a double-digit losing record. On the preview episode, we also predicted which Rikishi ranked Maegashira 1 through 3 would do the best. And Fleric, once again, just bringing the pain this tournament, predicted Wakataka Kage would do the best, and he did. I also predicted Wakataka Kage, but mostly Fleric just dominating the prognostication game this time. And Jake dominating the saying embarrassing stuff game. Sorry,
MMA,
little Jakey boy.
You interrupted me, so that counts, right?
No.
MMA is barbaric, crass, and actually pretty boring. There is no place for a sport like that to exist in today's world. It's definitely barbaric and crass, and often is boring. I'll agree with that. But when it's not boring, it's pretty friggin' fun.
Okay, so we've pussyfooted around it for long enough. The hair pull. Should it have been called a hair pull? We ran a Twitter poll that got over 150 responses. 40% of the people said yes, it should have been a hair pull. So the majority of people said no, they did not think that should have been a hair pull called against Teruno Fuji in his match against Miyokiryu. Set it up a little bit. It was going to be an Uwatenage win for Teruno Fuji. He had his hand on Miyokiryu's head as he was throwing him to the ground, and his hands got tangled up in Miyokiryu's hair a little bit. And definitely not an intentional hair pull, because once again, who would intentionally pull somebody's hair? You know you're going to lose. But it did look like a little bit of hair pulling. So what are your guys' thoughts? I know I'm on the page of, yeah, that probably should have been called a hair pull. Like it sucks, but letter of the law, which who knows what the letter of the law is. It was a hair
Fluid.
pull.
It's fluid.
Yeah, for me, I think that if you're going to call it there, you got to call it in the other like 20% of matches where it happens. You know,
Right.
like I know that that was exaggerating, but still, like if that counts as a hair pull, there should be hair pulls called all the time. And instead we get like 1 or 2 a year in the top division, right?
Yeah, I feel like the last one was Aoyama sometime last year. I feel like he's been called.
His fingers got tangled.
I think, yeah.
But like
him or
yeah.
Tochinoshin. Tochinoshin definitely had one recently,
Yeah.
or a couple of years ago.
But yeah, that's my point. Like, yeah, I mean, you're right. It was a hair pull. It didn't affect the match, but that doesn't necessarily matter.
Mhm.
I just wish it was more consistent. If you're going to call it, call it.
That sounds
Yeah.
like we're all on the same page.
Yeah, I was about to say. Yeah.
Okay, well, that
nothing
was
much to
easy.
add to that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
I think I'll like just to echo your part where you say you don't think it affected the match. I don't think it did either. I think he was Teruno Fuji
It
was
was
winning
already
that
over.
match. Like I
Mhm.
think the outcome, even if the fact that he got tangled did not affect that at all. So, but yeah, who knows?
I think the big thing that has angered a lot of people it was Daisho when he
racist.
won his U show. Well,
Yeah, they claimed racist on that one too. That was weird.
yeah, not like we said, everything that goes against the Mongolian and sumo wrestling is not racism. Are some things, like we said, probably. This one, no. Shut up, go home.
Enjoy the show.
Is
But
Hakuho maybe not getting his elder stock? Maybe.
maybe
You'd have a better case arguing that one than the hair pull, I think.
having only one Mongolian allowed in a Heya at a time, is that racist? Yes.
Yes.
Actually, yeah.
Well, to be fair, it's foreigner, right? Unless
But
you're
still, even that's
Yes.
like, why? Why?
Is it
Anyway.
xenophobic? Yes.
there you go. That's probably a better way to phrase it. Yeah.
They're xenophobic.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyways, though.
Completely lost my point. I think we actually are all on the same
Yes.
page here.
Yes.
I think so.
We did have a fun fact from John Gunning on Twitter here, though.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and read that, little Jakey boy?
So,
You
So-
wanted us. To. You demanded
I
it.
did demand it. I did say the words that
Oh.
you're saying I said. Yep. They did come out of my mouth. So John Gunning had a Twitter post about this. Top knots are held together with a small, easily breakable cord. And if hair pulling was legal, that would break all the time, which would leave the long, luscious locks of the rikishi flowing down. Nice
I
phrasing,
threw a
Ryan.
little bit of commentary.
Yes,
in
I
there. How about
can
that?
see
Luscious
Ryan's
locks.
editorializing here. So yeah, the reasoning though is that might look cool. Gunning posted a pretty cool picture of I can't remember the name of the wrestler, but like with the the full mane down, which was pretty cool looking. However, if your hair touches the ground, you lose, and if hair is all over the place, that's going to make that tough.
Mhm.
So
Makes sense.
And it could be difficult to see if like a hand is like an opponent's hand is going down next to your head, like what
Yeah,
touched
it just
first,
kinda
like
muddies
the
the
hand
water.
versus the head. Yeah.
It also really hurts.
No.
Getting your hair pulled.
Hair pulled.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that's not cool.
that doesn't really make any other techniques illegal though.
No.
Like Aqua roundhouse slapping Hide no Umi today.
That was good.
It probably hurts, but it's not illegal.
Open palm. You're good.
All right. So a real quick reconvening of JSA West's irresponsible speculation and suggestions. So I think we are suggesting a change of the rule. Oh, I remembered my point. People would not have been as mad about this hair pull if they had called Daisho's hair pulls in the Hatsu Basho. Boom. Okay, now we can move on.
Okay.
What do we think the rule should be rewritten to be. We're going to write this up. We're going to send it over to JSA East and let them take consideration on this. I think we're all on the same page of it has to affect the outcome of the match to call it.
Agreed.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I would agree with that, though.
I
mean,
feel
if
like you should
it's-
probably ask this question before you say, I think we all agree.
Well, I thought
Yeah.
based on previous text conversations we had, I thought we were all there, but no, that's fine.
I think that they should make everybody shave their heads.
Ooh, that could
There you go.
be.
Or honestly, better yet, if you make everybody wear those silly little rugby helmets, you'd solve 2 issues at once.
Oh.
Concussions
There we
would
go.
drop a little bit.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think it's pretty good right now. There's inconsistencies, but I don't know. Even if like then it's kind of like where do you draw the line? Like then now we're drawing the line whether or not it affected the match, whether or not what the fingers got actually into the hair. And I don't know, like finger.
It makes it a lot more ambiguous, more of a judgment call, and you should try to avoid having that kind of a thing in the rules, I think.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I think maybe it's more objective for fingers in the hair rather than like whether or not it affected the outcome of the match.
All
Just-
right,
just
shave the head,
standardize-
go in bald. We're good.
Standardize the enforcement of it, and then I'd be fine with it.
I mean, it's the same thing with like the NFL, and you get mad at like pass interference calls. It's a subjective call, and so you get mad when there's inconsistencies, and there's humans making the call, so there's always going to be inconsistencies.
Yeah.
So we need a robot like Shimpan.
An impartial
We need
Shinpan.
microchips in the hair.
Yes.
Ooh,
you
there
go.
we go.
Now we're talking.
All right, before we talk the results of the lower bouts, little Jakey boy.
Yeah. Little Caesars is bottom of the barrel garbage pizza. I wouldn't even feed it to my dogs. Which is true because Daisy, if she eats protein, it would possibly kill her. So yes, I would not feed her
No.
Little Caesars.
All right. The results of the lower divisions. The Juryo Yusho went to Ura. I only typed exclamation points after that.
all you
Enough
needed.
said. Move on.
Yep. Makushita, Abi won again. This is his 3rd career Makushita Yusho, his 2nd Basho back since his 3 Basho suspension, and his 2nd straight Makushita Yusho. He did manage to get another Uwatsunage win, so maybe he's slowly getting over his
He doesn't
crippling
do that.
fear of Mawashi. In Sandanme, Ishizaki won the Yusho there. This is his 1st career Basho as he had a Sandanme Tsukedashi to start his sumo career. He is 22 years old. In Jonidan, Senho won that one. This is his 1st career Jonidan Yusho. He is 18 years old. He's been hanging around Jonidan for the past 2 years, so this will get him up to Sandanme. And he is in Miyagino stable with Hakuho and his pals. And in Jonokuchi, I'm not sure how to pronounce this actually. Fuji Seiyun, maybe? I'm going to go with Fuji
Seiyun.
Seiyun.
Seiyun?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is kind of a weird one.
Fujiseiun. Don't know how to deal with the 3 consecutive vowels there. We're going Fuji Seiyun. Yeah. This is his 1st career Basho and Yusho. He is 23 years old. All right, Mac, let's hit some patrons with some compliments.
All right. At C_Pap in the Champ v Chump prediction series, I always want to choose you to be my champ.
Cole Brumley. I clicked the wrong tab. Cole Brumley. Your smile has the warmth of a bowl of Chanko on a winter day.
Jesus wears a bracelet that says, "What would Rhiannon do?"
And to Gabrielle Kathleen, you are a strong, independent podcast listener who don't need no man.
Like Ryan.
Yes.
You specifically don't need that man, Ryan's wife.
Yeah. Thank you, Ryan's wife, for donating. All right. It is time for a break. But more importantly, it is time to embarrass little Jakey boy.
How many do we have left?
A lot. We haven't been going fast enough.
Nope.
Oh. Riley is an ugly baby. And frankly, I don't care to ever hold her or even see her again.
You know, I wrote that and it still hurt when you said Riley is an ugly baby. Because that's just
Now you've said it too.
adorable.
Yeah.
You said it too now, Ryan.
shoot. Now you can isolate that and use that against Gabrielle
sure-
Kathleen, who is a strong, independent podcast listener who doesn't need no man.
I'm
Not after
sure
that
that no editor will have any ulterior motives with that sound clip right there.
Yeah. All right. Let us take a quick break here. And then we will be back for the GSB belt, and a lot more embarrassing things for Jake to say.
Welcome back. Let's take a look at our GSB belt, which, if I feel like editing it in here, this is where the fireworks sound effects would go.
Low budget
Um,
sound effects. I like it.
But we are retiring the belt because Teruno Fuji ended up winning the U show. And because also
Yes.
we followed this one linearly, it would have gone back down 10 ranks below where it started this tournament. So screw that.
Yep.
Teruno Fuji wins. The GSB belt has been retired. The first iteration has now been retired. Teruno Fuji, our GSB title holder ender winner.
The technical champ, as we have deemed it such, because I think for people curious, Tetsuyoshi is the one who would be holding the belt, and he had a losing record, so he's going to drop even further than what he was before.
Screw all that. Let's start it over
Nope.
because that's more fun. And Teruno Fuji won the U show.
People will be happy to know Aoyama did get that belt around his ample bosom again, so all is right in the world. We were able to conjoin the theoretical belt and the actual belt, the actual theoretical belt.
Actual theoretical.
And so yeah, we're gonna kill it and see what we can do with
Pull the
another
lever and
round.
start it over next time.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
It was an interesting journey. I think the way up, it was mostly Ura. Ura who's like held it most of the way up, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So there was a
And
couple
Chio no
people.
Kuni.
And Chio no Kuni. Yeah.
There were it passed around a few times in Jono Kuchi, and then Ura had it for like 20 matches in a row, basically for 3 whole tournaments here. And then it bounced around a little bit, and there was a long stay on Chio no Kuni in his Juryo and low Makuuchi rise. Ichinojo was the next guy to hold it for more than a couple matches. Hokuto Fuji had it for a while. Teruno Fuji actually had it back in March for a couple matches before it ended all the way back up on him in May here. So it was a cool journey. And now whenever some of these other names come up, we'll be like, oh yeah, that guy had the GSB belt for a day.
Oh yeah, Ura. I remember.
Yeah,
that.
I remember
that
kid.
I've heard of him.
All right, let's dive in a little bit more into how the fantasy results came about, because this is probably the most exciting prediction series that we have had.
For you.
Well, at least for a while, just in general, I think.
Yeah, it was up in the air for a long time.
The winner of it came down to Mac or Fleric, and it literally came down to the playoff match between Teruno Fuji and Takakeisho to see who would get the 5 points for the U show and the 3 points for the June U show. So that ended up going Teruno Fuji's way, and that resulted in Fleric being your Yokozuna. Fleric, do you have any sage words to share with us and our listeners?
I do. I have actually written it down beforehand and gave it to little Jakey boy, and he will read off my sage words for everyone.
All right, let's see what Yokozuna Fleric has in store for little Jakey boy.
Oh, goody. So Yokozuna Fleric has written a statement for me. The true reason I fanboy over Takayasu so much is because he reminds me of the Vikings. Always flexing, but will never amount to anything.
And with that, I will leave. I will
That
leave
one-
my post.
Drop the mic.
That one's one of the more like, it's not that it hurts because it's so far from the truth. It's because it is the truth I didn't want to say out loud.
And
Ow.
yeah, so very exciting race at the top. Also very exciting race to the bottom, because as we mentioned, I beat Jake by 1 point, and honestly, I needed every point I got, because Wakataka Kage inexplicably getting not inexplicably, he beat a lot of Sanyaku people as a Megashira 1, but getting that special prize without even, like, you have to win day 15 to get it or else you don't get it. Just 3 bonus points there, win by 1. Feels good, man.
Stupid.
You were sweating bullets. Admit it.
Oh, I was very nervous.
And he did lose his day 15 match. So
He did.
it should have
Yeah.
been conditional. Or
Yeah.
I mean, it would have been more more consistent with the past for it to be conditional or something like, like,
Mhm.
come on. Come on, guys.
All right. And since this is the normal spot where we do the main punishing, let's do a couple of Jake statements in a row here.
Just a reminder, a genuinely deadly pandemic doesn't require 24/7 advertising to remind you it exists. Real pandemics don't need marketing campaigns and endless propaganda, but psychological operations do.
Wow.
Wow.
Conspiracy theory, Jake. Didn't know you had it in you.
That's the like a lot of these are like, haha, you're making Jake look silly, but this one, what the hell, you guys?
I had to I was one who got this one. I had to dig deep in like a relative's like Facebook page, like really, really deep.
Really get in there.
That definitely hurt me more than
You're the
I
one who
think
had to
than
do the
you.
Facebook research to get the
Yeah.
proper phrasing there. Yeah.
There were so many takes that were just so bad that I couldn't even like
They weren't even
couldn't
like
even.
funny bad.
no. Just sad.
All right, fine. Let's do one more and then move on. I find ancient history, particularly Rome, to be so dull. They had it coming.
They did. I don't know what they had coming, but they had it coming.
They did. It.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk some bold predictions. And so we can knock out a few more little Jakey boy statements. I'm going to read a bold prediction and then we're going to do a little Jakey boy statement. So Beast Monarch said that Tochinoshin would get double-digit losses and then retire. Yet to be seen about the retirement, but he did get double-digit losses. Also, this was a really bad Basho for bold predictions, and so we're kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel here. Speaking of bottom of the barrel statements,
With energy. Make sure you subscribe to. Oh, was that an instruction or is
They
that
totally Ron Burgundied that. We knew we would.
with energy? Make sure you subscribe to Grand Sumo Breakdown on YouTube. Smash that like button and ring that bell, baby.
I believe there's a little bit at the end there.
And go fuck yourself, San Diego.
He was gonna Ron Burgundy that.
That was
Yep.
yeah. That, and I said it with energy, just very poor energy.
We should have written with loud, boisterous energy.
You should have made me do it.
You didn't lose, Mac. You should have thought
No,
about
me
that.
write it. I'm the one that can at least think around. Like,
We can
anyway,
have
continue.
Mac read these. I mean, I'm cool with it.
Shut up.
No.
All right, next one.
Or we could point out that Pat G predicted that Cocktail will not pull out at the last minute of this Basho.
Indeed,
call.
you were correct.
Fair
Like
enough.
I said, bottom of the barrel. Let's hit him with this one.
TSM are a meme of a League of Legends organization and a complete joke.
I think those are still
screw you
very
guys.
accurate
Yeah.
statements, no matter how you feel.
I agree there.
I think every League of Legends team is kind of a meme in their own way, one way or the other.
Oh, yeah.
You're not wrong.
Yeah. The predictions keep getting better and better. Al H said that Tobizaru will do the sumo.
Not really. Not this time.
I mean, sumo
Oh, yeah.
was done
He
by
did the
Tobizaru.
sumo.
I have
Very
a
good
I-
sumo.
I had a thought about that the Tobizaru guy. Once they get like full stands, like completely filled, Tobizaru is gonna be screwed. Or either that or he's
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
kill someone.
Yeah.
On his way down.
Yeah.
Ah!
He just every single match he needs that full runway to kind of slow himself down.
Mhm.
Jakey boy.
This one's like a novel. What the hell? Katie, I want a divorce. I'm taking the dogs in Panthro. I want you to pack your Where's Kith in this? I have 2 cats, you jerks. I want you to pack your stuff and get out of the
You're
house.
leaving the diabetic cat with Katie.
Oh, okay. Now it makes sense. Yeah, that's funny. I want you to pack your stuff and get out of the house 2 hours after you listen to this. I'm a huge coward, so I will be half a country away by the time this episode is uploaded. You will never see me again. I wish I could say that I wish you well, but it would be a lie. So my parting words to you will be this. Get bent, you nerd. Ugh.
Ake Jobst said that a Rixie will win.
Oh God.
And Jake said,
I'm tired of everybody walking around acting so smart, saying stuff like, we landed on the moon or the earth is round. But like, where is your science to back that up? I did
Jeez, Jake.
sarcasm font properly for that one though.
Appreciate
you did get that one right.
Wasn't sure you would. And then the winner for worst prediction, Hakiyoi Sumo News and Stats, Kagayaki Yusho. Just like, come on.
Oh.
Bro.
Do we need to go
Do we
back
have to go there?
to making little Jakey boy read this again?
No, because I already did that one. I don't need to talk about Kageyaki's duck waddle and how it makes me wet.
All right, that's fair.
Yeah, the people already know.
Yeah,
They already know.
but you do need to.
I
read
hereby
this one.
renounce my love of Minnesota and proclaim my heart belongs to Wisconsin.
That just doesn't
Ugh.
sit well with me.
No, I kind of like physically upset.
All right, you can thank my wife for that one, Jake.
We will move on to the GSB Awards. The first award is the Elder Abuse Award, which goes to Ishiura with the strong Tsupari to the face of Aki Sayama, followed by slapping the absolute piss out of him and throwing him down on his face, all after Aki Sayama broke his jaw the day before.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Next, we have the Strongest Pimp Hand Award, which Ishiura was a runner-up for this one.
Yeah.
Yes.
But this one has to go to day 15. Aqua just absolutely putting Hideno Umi in his place. Check out Twitter. I gift this one, and it's exquisite. He full on like frames up against Hideno Umi's chest and like fully like
Winds
all the way
up.
back, 180-degree wind up. Yeah. Oh, it's gorgeous.
Sending Hideno Umi back to his babes.
You ain't focused
Yeah.
on the sumo. Go back to your babes.
Yeah.
Like 5 and 10, his heart's with the babes at the moment. Like he's
Yeah.
a young guy. You gotta
Yeah,
understand that.
Last time he was 10-5, so he was more with the sumo. He felt he was neglecting the babes. This time, 5 and 10. Hey, I'm safe. I'm gonna be in Makuuchi next time. Let's get a little bit more babage action.
It's getting summertime. I got my summer bod going. Let's go.
The Dumpster Fire Award goes to day 11. That's the day that we had the whole hair pull fiasco, the Asanoyama fiasco, the Ryuden story that dropped that we haven't even talked about, which is like a tabloid story saying that he had an extramarital affair and with his mistress had forced her to get an abortion. So
Pressured her, tried
Pressured her.
tried
Yes.
to, at least according to this tabloid, which again, a grain of salt on all of this.
Yep. Tabloid.
According to the story, he tried to get her to have an abortion, but she did not.
yes, all of this unrelated to Ryuden missing this Basho due to also breaking COVID.
It might be
protocols.
related.
Well, that one part.
Well,
Possible.
maybe
Might be.
maybe visiting the mistress. And then there was another Okami-san abuse story that dropped. This one didn't seem like it was nearly as bad as the other one, but it was just another story of bad things happening that dropped
culminating
on
on
day
day
11.
11.
And then we also had the What a Dick Award, which goes to Chiyo Tairyu, who already had Kachikoshi facing off against the 7-7 no show and just hankas him. Like, Chiyo Shoma was 7-7 on day 15. He hanked Kodo Nawaka. That's like the most predictable thing to ever happen in
It's
all the
what
realm
he's
of
gonna
predictable
do.
things. Yeah,
I fault Kodo Nawaka for that one. Like,
Yeah.
bro.
but Chiyo Tairyu doing it when he was 9-6 and Onosho's fighting for his life to just hanka the poor man and just what a dick. And then the match of the Basho, we had a lot of good ones to choose from, but ultimately it ended in a tie between Little Jakey Boy and I voting for Teruno Fuji versus Endo, their day 14 match. And then Mac and Fleric voted the Takakeisho versus Teruno Fuji playoff as their favorite match.
Both of those were very high drama. The reason that I ended up going with Teruno Fuji versus Endo is the match itself, even in a complete vacuum, was super technical, super exciting back and forth. And with that awesome photo finish, that was why it was my favorite.
You just can't ignore the all the kind of drama and all the kind of build-up around the match, of which Takakeisho versus Teruno Fuji had spades. It was Takakeisho already won. The Yusha was on the line. Teruno Fuji has not won a playoff at all, and just it was just all that.
It was there. It was
Yeah.
perfect.
It was just the most tense and the most kind of like just sitting back and enjoy a match I was the entire time.
All right.
sorry, real
Sorry,
quick.
yeah.
I had an honorable mention that we hadn't brought up, but it was also kind of hilarious. Takayasu Chiyonokuni Day 2. This is the one where Takayasu like hurls Chiyonokuni across the ring by his head. It was awesome.
Oh.
There's a GIF on Twitter that Takagaijin posted that.
Okay. Before we go to our final batch of patron compliments, little Jakey boy, we need your work.
Lower the doyo. I say we raise it. Rikishi aren't training enough nowadays, anyways. Didn't I already sarcastically make that point in a different episode?
Probably. Never hurts to reinforce it.
Never hurts to reinforce it.
Repetition leads to learning.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Mac.
All right. We have Caroline. You look like a million Ryo.
Octavian, we love you more than our mothers.
Giuseppe, you are just like my Mawashi, supportive and full of balls.
Rob Graham, your radiance brightens up a rainy day.
And King of Salt. We named a new Kimarite after you. It's called You're a Cutie.
Feel like it took a second for Fleric to.
No, I looked back into our video call. I saw Mac just having a huge, like, just dorky smile on his face as he said that, and that just tore me up.
You expected less?
Yeah. If the one thing I know about you, Mac, is you commit to the bit. So I should not have been surprised. Well done.
All right, it's time for us to talk about our favorite moments of the Basho. Little Jakey boy, why don't you look at the punishment document and tell us what your favorite moment of Basho was?
Akisayama has the dad bod I hope to have one day.
So you probably weren't a fan when he pulled out of the tournament then.
I don't have a good comeback for that. I'm just a little uncomfortable.
Did you have any other favorite moments besides marveling Akisayama's dad bod?
It's always good for me when Takayasu steps up and does, double digits. Love it. Keep it up.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Mac?
I would say for this one, it was seeing Terunofuji adjust himself after his match with Takakeisho. I love seeing those on-the-fly adjustments going into the playoff, so I was really pleased to see that.
Yeah, I'm gonna back that one up. The rivalry between Terunofuji and Takakeisho. We got 2 matches of it, and they kind of went 1-1. I love it. It was just a good time. I want more.
Yeah, I have to agree. Just seeing kind of the mirror of the November Basho happen here, hopefully setting up a long and storied rivalry between Takakeisho and Terunofuji. And then we have one more little Jakey boy statement before we wrap up the podcast.
I can't help but notice that the numbers here went higher than 20.
We
don't know what you're
found
talking
a
about.
special die.
Yeah.
We found a special die, and the die lands how the die lands.
In a girly sing-song voice to the tune of "I'm a Little Teacup." I'm a little Jakey, short and stout. Now I'm a loser. Watch me pout. You should have learned that one on the first time. I'm not singing it. No, that's not part of it.
We got rid of others. We talked about it before. There is no way Jake actually goes along with either of these.
You had 23 of these. What's wrong with you people?
We had
Cheating
more.
cheaters.
We had 23 good ideas. There's some
Cheating
on the
little
cutting room
cheaters.
floor.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're like, there's absolutely no way Jake does the instructions. He's just going to read right through it.
Straight
But-
through it.
But we like the contents of these two enough to make you say them anyways.
Mhm.
No, that absolutely worth it.
Okay, yeah, so that was our podcast. That's what we're doing now. We're ending it.
Yeah.
So if you like this podcast, you can leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, your favorite podcast listening service.
You can find us on social media. Look for Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Search for Grand Sumo Breakdown.
I feel like this whole thing could just be like search for Grand Sumo Breakdown on stuff.
Yeah. Go to Google, type in Grand
Go
Sumo
to
Breakdown,
Google,
see what
find
happens.
Just do that.
Yeah.
Especially the Patreon one, because that makes us have more money to make this show better.
If you really want to look us up on Google, you can also drop us a line at grandsumobreakdown@gmail.com or give us a call at 805-613-7866. That's 805-613-SUMO.
If you're a single lady out there and you like the cut of little Jakey Boy's jib, he is going to be single fairly soon. So give him a jingle. He is accepting applications to fill that void in his life.
And go.
All right, so Gunning donated to the Patreon. Do we still have to compliment him?
Well, yeah, that's part of the deal.
What if we just downgrade him from like mortal nemesis to apprehensive rival?
I mean, I don't like it either, but we kind of have to. He's a Bears fan, right? What if we just say we don't hate his team more than the Packers? That's kind of nice, right?
Guys, seriously, he paid us money.
I don't like it. Makes me feel dirty.
It's like we're compliment hookers.
Jesus. All right, fine. I'll do that one.
Oh, hey guys, sorry I'm late. So where are we at?
We're talking about Patreon compliments.
Oh, neat. Did you guys see that John Gunning donated? How cool is that?
Jesus Christ.
Thank you for listening to Grand Sumo Breakdown. Until next time,
Throw your salt high.
And keep moving forward.